Today's AskReddit post. What was the last straw in a relationship you no longer are in? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. I broke up with my girlfriend of 5 years because she made the Subway guy cry. She had asked for light mayo and he put too much, so he scraped off the extra. She scolded him until he was holding back tears, and that's when I realized that she wasn't just ambitious, she was an asshole. Facts. Anyone who treats service staff like poop is always a huge red flag to me. If they can't treat people who have no recourse with respect, then they are not good people. He told our daughter he never liked her and couldn't stand to be around her. Sadly, I know how much that hurt your poor child. My dad said something similar when I was 10, told me he wished I was dead and suggested I go bury myself. It was Easter Sunday too. 30 plus years later, and I still feel the burn of that moment. I'm glad for your child that you are stronger than my mother was and left. Good for you. Hug that little one tightly and make sure she knows she *is loved. She hit me with a car on purpose. Ex-wife tried to do that to me. Our kids were watching from a window. Who are the kids cheering for? Said she was going home, several states away, to visit family for 2 weeks. Saw her doing lines off the back of a toilet 3 days into said trip at a party in the town we lived in. So you went to a party and saw her there? Or she put that poop in the cloud? I physically saw her. We were at the same party, in the city we both lived in, not several states away. When her phone vibrated on the chair next to me, and it was a text from her ex. I miss you too. To implied she said it first. Yeah. No. Bye. Ouch. Unethical life pro tip #4978. If you want revenge on your ex, send a I miss you too message to them, timed at a moment when they are with their new partner. I sliced my index finger open to the bone at work, needed a ride to the hospital, and she complained the whole time about just wanting to get home and have a drink. Couldn't care less about me being in pain and upset that I wouldn't be able to play guitar for months. I'm a professional musician who gigs often. I was like, nope. What if something debilitating happened to me? She would just bounce. Yep. Had to go to the hospital for a heart-related issue. Couldn't get hold of her the whole night, and then she blamed me for making her worry when she saw all of the missed calls. No empathy at all. I mentally checked out of the whole relationship when the final finished product and first professional credit of my passionate lifetime hobby came in the post, and I was so excited to show her. She barely looked at it and said, "Is that what you've been wasting your spare time on?" I saw a healthy relationship and finally understood how screwed my own was with my fiance at the time. I flew out to meet my newborn nephew and saw how attentive and caring my brother and sister-in-law were to one another. Amidst sleep deprivation and learning to keep a tiny human alive, I realized my own partner would be raising his voice, flipping out, or be completely checked out and leaving all the work to me if I ever got pregnant. It was funny because at that point, most people in my family had tried to get me to see the light about my relationship. And what it actually took was seeing a solid example of a healthy marriage. He had a public screaming meltdown at a screening of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because a family was accidentally sitting in our assigned seats. I don't suppose you could expand on this, could you? Sounds like some amazing cringe to be mined. When my so was not only cheating on me and having unsafe intercourse with these women, but was telling me that he had to stand up for me with our shared friend group. I made sure they knew about his cheating, then left. He lost most of the friend group. This same thing happened to me, only he lost all of his friends and I lost most of my friends. Not a romantic relationship. Don't know if it counts. Ended the relationship with my mom because I was in the hospital having major surgery. She was here to help care for my very worried kids. She hit my 4-year-old in the face. At least twice. She admitted doing it and told me it's fine because she apologized. She used to hit me. She never hit my older kids. So I never expected this to happen. but it was like she waited for me to be weak enough to not be able to defend them. I tried to find any excuse, but I just couldn't see her name or hear her voice ever again without intense dread and panic. That counts. And good riddance. I'm proud of you for standing up for your kiddo. Thanks. I technically stayed laying down, but got real loud for my kiddo lol. After 3 years together I asked what we were doing, and he said I don't know. So I said, let's start from first principles then. Do you love me? And he said I don't know. I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm in the same boat. Approaching 2 years. I'm gonna be brave and have a talk soon. She would establish boundaries. I would accept them. Did this like 3 times. When I finally realized all she was doing was moving her fence line to the point she wasn't respecting my own boundaries. Good you picked up on it. I lived this for 5 years and I'm so glad I'm out and now have a partner that actually respects my boundaries. Hope the same for you. Anytime I try to communicate times I felt disrespected or angry with her, she would do the same 3 things. 1. Not listen or not understand. 2. Turn it around and make it about her being a victim somehow. 3. Just throw out random poop until she could find something that I did wrong. And then act like that made her win the discussion. Ducking childish bullpoop. Just listen. Admit you did something wrong and apologize. Duck. He beat me so badly I lost our baby. I'm so sorry. Hope you are okay now. Yes. Thank you. It was a long time ago. I'm happily married with children now. It was already leading up to it. But how he treated my cat. Initially he'd play with her, but she didn't like it, and she made it known after a few warnings, which would in turn tick him off, and he'd try to punish her. One day I came home from work, and he was in my house with a friend he'd invited, but hadn't told me about. They started talking about how feral cats should be put down, and if it had been then, they'd have put her down. She's not feral. She spent like 2 weeks of her life was spent outside. She just has boundaries. But yeah, after hearing that conversation was I just done. I'm a guy with 2 cats, but I love animals in general. I couldn't date someone who didn't treat animals with some respect. Animals all have their own unique way of communicating things to you. If you just assume they are bad because you don't understand their behavior and boundaries, I'm wary of you. I beat her at a game of Halo. She choked me against a door. Pissed off about it. I was done. Glad you got out. He put his hands on me. He never saw me again. When I got to the point that I thought dying was the only way I could be free of him. Perfect username. When she got mad and told me to get over my best friend's death 3 days after he died. He was Kaya in Afghanistan. She told me that I needed to start paying her attention and that he's dead and there's nothing I can do. Broke up with her right there and then. Holy poop. I got same thing recently. My best friend died and a week after the funeral she told me I was wallowing in his death. A week after that we were finished. He said he was going to take the weekend to think about us, and he took my paycheck to OKC and spent it on strippers. Damn. That's rough. What an asshole. We had been circling the drain for a while, stuck in a constant loop of toxicity and trying to make it work. She pulled a disappearing act one night and went out and got plastered and didn't come home until the next day. I realized in that moment I resented her. Disappearing acts are something I have no tolerance for in a committed relationship. I get real anxious if my person says they will be home at a certain time, and then they not only don't come home, but refuse to answer calls/texts. This was the second time she had pulled one of these on me, and that was it. You had far more self-respect than I did. I used to deal with this kind of behavior from one of my exes, and it was just nutty how infuriating and disrespectful it felt. I'm sorry you were put through that. She moved out and tried to take 2 of our 4 kids with her. She was moving in with a guy from her work, and her brilliant idea was that she'd take the 2 younger kids and I'd take the 2 older ones. Her sister helped me talk her into returning the kids, and I won custody of all 4 in the divorce. This is *WILD*. Like kids are records you can just divvy up when you split? Exclamation mark. WTF. Worked for the babies in the Parent Trap. I've realized it was over when I found out my partner had been lying to me about their whereabouts and spending time with someone else. Just gut pain. Cheaters are poopty people. The lying and betrayal never ends with them. Or pettiness. My bestie's ex still tried justifying cheating by saying he didn't. Would yell at me if I didn't praise him enough. AHH. You dated my ex. Did the dishes once a fortnight. Expected a gold star and a standing ovation. My boyfriend speaking down to his children, and not for the first time. And I don't mean in a disciplinary way either. One of the most unattractive qualities in my opinion. My sister had a nervous breakdown, and she had her reasons. But she's always been a poopty mother and I could never trust that she would take care of her children. My brother had a nervous breakdown and became the opposite of who he was. But my sister has always been cruel, and it was just her on overdrive. She's betrayed me so many times in my life, and whatever. She is who she is. What severed our relationship was her turning on her sons. 2 were young adults and 1 was a teen. I told her not even animals do that. I have not spoken to her in close to 4 years and neither have her children. A girl's name came up on some instant messaging app, and I asked who that was, and he absolutely lost it on me for asking. Funny how that's always such a telltale sign of cheating. Anyways, I'm really glad that happened, because he was so verbally abusive that I felt just nothing of myself, and it took cheating for me to leave. Sometimes we just need a concrete reason to leave. I don't know why. Being unhappy isn't reason enough for so many of us. He tased me, shot at me, and pistol whipped me. Played buddy with the cops, so they just saw a panicked shaking woman and a chilled dude, and decided I was hysterical, so I must be making it up. I got in my truck before they left, and ran for my life. The next time I saw him was to sign divorce papers and he thrashed me in front of the courthouse. They believed me then. It always starts slow with this type. First he'd just get angry and yell, but that was my fault for making him mad. Then your friends and family are a problem, so they get cut off. Now you're isolated. Yelling turns into things breaking. Then things getting thrown at you. Next thing you know you're being stomped into concrete until your spine snaps. Shooting at me made me realize there's no end to the escalation but death. Anyone dealing with anything like this, please run. They won't stop. It will get worse. They won't change. You deserve so much better. You are worth so much more. I worked the night shift, so when I came home, I went straight to bed. While I was sleeping, my girlfriend took my debit card without permission and withdrew a few $100s from an ATM. It's important to note that I never shared my PIN with her, so she must have intentionally watched me at some point to memorize it. A few days later, when I was reviewing my online banking, I noticed the unusual withdrawal and mentioned it to her. Not because I suspected her of anything, but simply because it seemed odd. I went to the bank, and they advised me to file a police report, which I did. When I returned home and informed her of the situation, she acted completely normal and unconcerned. A few days later, the police called, informing me that they were coming over to show me some pictures from the ATM. My girlfriend then told me she was going to visit her grandmother and promptly left. When the police arrived, they showed me pictures of my girlfriend taken by the ATM's camera. Oh, I hope you prosecuted and got your money back. Turns out he was gay. He's my best friend now, but damn, there's no working around that. This happened to a friend of mine. Married a few years, and then it started to unravel. Turns out he was bi, but preferred to be with men. She wanted to work with him, but he said he'd rather live with a man. Fucked her up for many years. I'm glad it never got as far as marriage for us, since we were young, but it did mess me up for a while. Found out she cheated a year before, and she was angry I wouldn't immediately get over old news. So she stole the money that I set aside for going on vacation for my birthday. She was in school, so I paid for most everything and went on vacation with the guy she cheated on me with. She tried to come back 3 years later asking me if I was over it yet. Oh, I had an ex do that. And he got his whole family in on it too, to where they were all saying to me, why are you upset now about something that happened 8 months ago? It was wild. My sister died suddenly and I was majorly depressed. I ended up getting blood clots from the plane ride, and he told me that I probably wouldn't have gotten the blood clots if I hadn't sat around and been so sad over my sister. I said, "Duck you, I want a divorce." She got drunk and made an oopsie and ducked some guy. My ex slapped me after confronting she ducked her trainer. She did. The audacity, the nerve, the balls, the gall on this broad. Good riddance. Hope you're doing better, bro. He spit on me. I think that fundamentally changed me as a person. It made me question how I could allow myself to be with someone who would disrespect me like that. I had been giving him chance after chance and choosing to see the best in him for months. But that was over the line. I'm on a path of self-discovery and reflection. She accused me of cheating with some blonde girl after she found blonde hair in my bed. Plot twist, I wasn't. Plot twist, she was blonde since 4 to 5 days. She found her own hair in the bed and accused you of cheating? My ex found a picture of herself. It was a blurry picture, but it was her in my phone, and accused me of cheating. In the end, she cheated on me. Should've seen that one coming. She left for the 3rd time with the words "duck you." We are done after a self-inflicted fight. As expected, she came back after a few hours, and I told her she could pack her stuff and leave again. Lol. What was her reaction when she realized consequences were involved? Negatively surprised, offended, brain error. She was spending hours in the car of the coworker she told me not to worry about. Wasn't a problem that they hung out until I saw the messages for myself. Were they getting intimate in the car or just having an emotional affair? I had something happen to me recently where my ex said another girl came to hang with him in the driveway while borrowing a charger, but all they did was have a deep talk for 2 hours and she left. Allegedly. CCTV showed no physical interaction aside from hugs, but they were emotionally connecting. Their current relationship stemmed from her emotionally cheating on me. The last straw for me was when they became overly dependent on me for their happiness and well-being, draining me emotionally. She made an ass of herself at my best friend's wedding. I'll take a lot of poop, but don't disrespect my friends. Out of curiosity, what happened? I knew she was going on a trip with a group. I didn't know she was going a week early with a guy I thought was problematic. I found out because his wife called me to ask what I thought about them going alone well before the rest of the group would join them. 20+ years of marriage ended then in my mind. Counseling and state law said it ended over a year later. But even though I still tried, I knew. Financial illiteracy, kinda. She explained to me that we needed to use our mobile data when staying at her apartment. BC she was saving money on her internet bill. Turns out her way to save money on the bill was to just unplug the router. Needless to say, the bill came anyways. Boo-hoo at seeing that she wasn't expecting any mail. She never opened her mailbox, meaning that 3 months worth of lack of payment fees managed to accumulate. I couldn't believe my own ears hearing her explain this. And afterwards I would always stress about her having a very low IQ when spending time with her. When it dawned on me how badly she and her mother treated her father. Just disrespectful of ungrateful for him. He was a gem of a human being, and to see him being put down so often made me realize that this is what would be in store for me if we continued. We had other flags as well, but this was the final straw. She kicked my 14-year-old dog because he was making a weird old dog noise that creeped her out when she was drunk. Bitch. It's called wheezing. He was just trying to breath. I don't care how cute you are. You don't kick a man's puppers. Finding out he had molested his much younger sisters, I had stayed even after he me. But that's where I drew the line. I used to tell people I left after what he did to me. But I stuck around after that for whatever reason. For a long time. I used to feel really bad about that fact, but I just got done watching Baby Reindeer, and for the first time, I feel like I make sense. I didn't get out for the sake of myself, but I got out and that's what counts. Oh, and I called CPS on his ass. How did you find out he molested his sisters? Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.